Hi, this is Beavy, and we're doing the Creative Cosmic Roundtable conversation. It's 10-10-17, so it's a big portal today, a very, very large energetic portal. Remember, all portals of energy are from within you and coming out of you, but you'll also see, since you are the microcosm and the macrocosm at the same time, depending on your focus, of all of the galaxies and all of the universes, multiverses, there are other things that are unfolding and aligning and having a conjunction today on various levels. So should be a very fun call. So what I'd like to do, today's roundtable, I want to do a little bit different than the first bunch of tables that we did, and have the thought that we're going to lead off with a little bit of a spring point, and then from where your field moves to play from there is going to be the perfect place, and we'll expand in all sorts of delicious directions from there. And the only springboard platform is that it's the time of choosing. So choosing what? Well, choosing everything, and you're the one who's the expert, so you're the one who's choosing. It's a matter of consciously choosing, of directing your focus, of opening and expanding your awareness to really what's going on this moment, what is true. I try to make sure that when I'm speaking about that, I'm talking about what's true, and that deals with the perspective of the person who is speaking it, rather than a truth, because we each have our own truth. So what is true is what is what is actually basically coming from source, and then we all have our perspectives and perceptions on that. So I'd like to start by going around the round table, and wherever you move to leap off from, when you're thinking of the time of choosing, when you're thinking of as the changes in the levels of energy and what we would language usually as an expansion of consciousness, although consciousness is, and then we just catch up to it on various levels of awareness and our own expanding to what's already existence. There are multiple Earths would be a good way to describe it right now, and multiple collectives and almost eddies, like there's eddies, currents in water of consciousness, and some are open and expansive realities, and some are more unconscious Earth realities. Someone's got a lot of clicking going on, so you want to keep that in mind. And so are we choosing to be in an open, expansive flow and connection, or are we choosing to be more in a limited one? And where are we going to put our contributions? Where are we going to jump up from our focus? So that's kind of the jump off place. So whoever wants to go first and play with that, we'll expand from there.
You know you got cut off saying that?
I did?
Yeah.
So you didn't hear? Okay. Did you hear any of that?
Yeah, the beginning and the end for me.
That's interesting.
I heard.
Okay.
I heard all of it. This is Aja.
Okay.
And I heard all of it in California.
Okay. All right. Well, that's very interesting. So one of you who heard all of it, go ahead and jump off, and then we'll go from there. I'm curious as to why that particular thing was created, but let's play with it.
I guess I'm going to speak. This is Jean Marie, and I am experiencing and really, I won't say struggling, but I am definitely experiencing these different energies, collective energies, and I've never said it that way. I thought as a collective we are one. So I like this already. I'm already like grabbing onto that, and I am allowing my energy to, with some direction, but mostly allowing it to take me and expand and excited as if it's a new adventure and as if play is the motivation. There's still part of me that is still holding on to in my marriage and my relationships that are in a different collective energy. And I'm in the middle of a place or a space where I'm figuring that out. I'm making plans to travel and experience different energies. I need to find different energies to swim in and play with, and this is part of it right here, right now. That's what I'm moved to say.
Wonderful. Who's next?
Yeah.
I'll go next. This is Pam. You know, I didn't realize until today, very apropos, I have been soaring in whatever beautiful energy reality that I've been existing in. Like what you just said about the collective consciousness. Mm-hmm. Yes, true, but not true. We're just all at different little exits in the collective consciousness. So I didn't realize how happy and blissful and in a wonderful space I was until I got a visitor to my house today, unexpected. And then I could consciously feel for the very first time as if I were in an elevator that was on the penthouse going down floor by floor by floor. My energy just, but it was kind of cool because I felt it happening. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I think in the past, I've been okay being used as a tool to bridge both worlds and both realities among the populace. But you know what? No more. You know, I didn't come here to experience less than. Let whoever is willing to reach up their hand and play in a different and better world to come play with me. I'm happy to pull them up. But it just takes too much of a toll physically and energetically on me these days to go down and down and down to meet others. So that's what I have to say.
Beautiful. I definitely would say you've encapsulated the time of choosing very well. No more. I choose. No more. Cool. Who's next?
I'll go with Tasha. Well, I feel that I'm so glad to be on the call, and I am choosing. I feel like I'm choosing, and in my choosing, I feel like I go back and forth, and I've been writing this story ever since the eclipse, and it's taken me from the eclipse. And I think I really am finishing it today pretty much. And the energies there feel like they're expressing and they're giving me the story of how this whole shift in consciousness that I want to be stepping into and being is. And so I've just been going into all these magical worlds, and I do it every day, and it's just been very, very wonderful and magical and empowering. And I also feel that, in particular, different parts of my life are still in the old paradigm. And so when you said at the beginning about, different worlds and which are we going to choose and which are we, I guess, going to believe is our truth, and I've even been hearing things like we're actually going to be like not separating because everybody is we're on one earth, but at the same time different realities and almost different earths. So I'm very curious about that. I'm wondering what that means to me. I'm wondering how that relates, like all the shifts and that seem to be coming up in around me and the different things with Heather and all that. so I'm basically very excited. I also feel anxiety. Sometimes I just feel, I was on the call yesterday with Jalala, and we were doing compassion about like Las Vegas and talking about how, so many people in the country have been feeling very much like powerless, and what happened in Las Vegas expresses the whole kind of collective feeling of being caught off guard, thinking you're safe and then you're not, and like anything could happen and something terrible could happen. And I'm definitely at the same time, like I'm in this bliss state and this very high energy awareness state. I'm going back and forth between them in that kind of way. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah, this is Heidi. I've been back and forth, and it's like I realize, I can jump this timeline any time. I've just got to choose it. So when something comes up, when it comes up now and it's off, I feel it just instantly. And it's like, okay, so choice. I can make a choice right now. I can just shift my feeling and jump to that other timeline, because everything is simultaneous anyways. It's a matter of being conscious, but not 3D conscious, which binds you, or I find that it binds me to the 3D stuff, which keeps me stuck, understanding, figuring it out, all that stuff that we've been told to do. Whereas when you go with the flow, you're just allowing, and then, like the other people have said, where they experience these beautiful things. I've experienced beautiful moments for sure, and they've been wonderful. And yet I feel like I'm still more so in between the third and the fourth, or the fourth and the fifth, or the third and the fifth, or whatever. I'm in the in between, knowing that I have a choice at any time. So what's really become clear, though, and I always find clarity to be refreshing and lightens me up, is seeing that I have a choice, remembering that I have a choice, not getting sucked back into that old stuff. And that in itself is freeing. But I still have the intention, and all throughout my day I am, saying, okay, I'm open to, raising my vibration, just, opening up to what is already there, at the same time that I'm, quote, down here. There aren't really levels. They're parallels, but they're different feelings, definitely different feelings of being in bliss than being in our 3D world. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of what I'm going through right now. I just want it, though. I am definitely willing to do the work and whatever to, quote, ascend, unquote.
Cool. One of the things I find for lots of people, if you hold the energy picture, maybe a good way to describe it, of being in a quantum flow as you're experiencing each moment and whatever that entails for you, rather than trying to think, okay, well, that was 3D and this is 5D and this is that. So because quantum, you're not in a linear thing. So you're not in, like a zigzag. So you said you were discussing one thing where you're in 3D. So if your hand is level, that's 3D, and then you go, your fingers go up, and now you've made a steep climb, and you're up this way, and you fall down, kind of a thing. If you're thinking and feeling about it more in a quantum, which is more spiral, more circular, more like a flowing orb, which is really the natural state of yourself when you're not embodiment, then you can move through different flows of energy vibration without yourself being pinpointed or pulled in to that one. You can notice it and flow through it. You can interact, you can have experiences, you can have a whole orchestration of emotions and range of your flow of experience, but you're not locking into something. If you're looking at it in more of a quantum, feeling it more of a quantum state.
Yeah, exactly. The linear thing is a real. It holds me to a place that I don't want to be. So you're absolutely right. But I just find my mind forgets. I'll read it later. I'll listen to something later. Like, I got to hand it to you, Vivi. The stuff on your website's been awesome. So I listened to the Pleiadians one, not the latest one, but the one before that, about the explanation for everything. And so then I'm in a space of quantum more, so even learning how to speak quantum, because that has a lot to do with it. And then, I forget, and I go back to my stuck way of thinking, but at least now I'm noticing it more so, and I can even sometimes retain, just be an observer and not get pulled into it.
Yes, noticing is one of the greatest gifts that we have, just to simply notice. Don't love it or hate it. Don't, jump up and down yay or jump up and down yuck, but just notice.
Yeah, and still be at not become it. Just observe it, like watching a movie. Kind of.
I'm wondering, this is Aja, a question about this whole quantum thing, the word quantum. I have visions. That's my thing, where I go into, I'm like transported. That's where my stories and my art come from. So I'm wondering, and writing this story has been really fabulous because I keep tapping into that. And like the other day, I was somewhere and I felt all my 3D constricted thoughts about certain things, I was just swallowed up. And so I just pulled myself into this, when I say visions, I see things, I see color and that kind of thing. So I pulled myself into this other realm, and it was actually something to do with finances. And I was elevated, literally, I felt like I was in this other place. It was high kind of in the sky, in this building that was all made of light, and there were all sorts of different colors. And I was just shopping, and I could use this card, I could just buy anything. And it was so real, though. It was the pictures that you see of in a distance, they'll have blue and pink and sparkly lights and this jewel. Everything's to me, everything, when I go into this realm, everything is made of a jewel. I guess that's the crystalline, right? So I was there, and it was really amazing. And I was wondering, oh, should I is this the future? Is this where I'm going? If I just keep bringing that awareness, almost it's a place. It's it's a real place. Is that?
I'd say
quantum?
Yes. It's there. I see that, and I feel that too. And I think the more of us that tap into that and kind of live there, the quicker this old nonsense is just going to dissolve away. And that'll be our reality.
Is that the earth that we're
and
shifting
so much
to?
more and all of it? Again, don't. It's wonderful to hear both of you talking about it, because one of the questions you had, Aja, was, is that the future? And then it was Pam, right, who said, it's here now. And that will be how it's going to be. And so on the one hand, you're both talking and speaking and giving voice to something that's expansive, that's wonderful, that's delicious, that's different, clearly, than the quote-unquote old 3D. But you're bringing some of your, not so much the languaging, but some of your boxes, I guess it's what's lighting up for me to say, the boxes that we put things in from that linear perspective. So you can have that is the future. Yes, that'd be one way to describe it. It's happening right now. Yes, that would be another way to describe it. We can have all of that and more would be another way to describe it. And when you're talking about your visions, Aja, well, perhaps play with the idea that just like people sometimes will talk about dreams, that it's quote-unquote not a dream. It's, that moment in space where you're flowing in that moment, when you're experiencing it in actuality.
That we're actually existing, like this is another plane of existence that we're actually living in. Is that what you're saying, Busy?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so is that quantum in a way? Is that quantum?
Quantum, yeah. Quantum is quantum. Linear is you start at 8 in the morning and you go to 10 at night. So that's linear. If you're walking down the street and you see Main Street and Pacer Street, their intersection, and if I walk one block to the west, right, that's linear. So I'm walking down the street and I can see my feet in front of me, and there's cars going by, all that kind of stuff. That's a linear trajectory, a linear perspective. That discounts that in reality there is a linear. There's a reality to my right, to my left, above, below. All of those things in physical and non-physical. So a lot of people, someone mentioned it earlier in the call, the idea of ascension and expanding energies and moving in different dimensions and that kind of thing. So the simplest way, although it'll still stretch a lot of people's brains, the simplest way to describe that is that all of you, so your higher selves with an S or many S's, all the fractals, all the aspects of you which are source, and we're all one, but individuated and separate. So the illusion of separateness is another phrase that is coming part. All of those selves of each one of us, of each of a fractal that is of source, with the name of BZ or Pam or Aja or Heidi or Jean Marie, right, are imploding back on ourselves, so that we're coming back we're gathering all of ourselves from all over the multiverses, coming in right now. That is the time that's happening, right, this moment. That's actually what's happening. So when you're having, people will mention symptoms and that kind of thing, as those things come in, you're imploding, so you're intaking, infilling, and also at the same time expanding, exploding, sometimes it feels like, all of that light, which is information, it's love, it's true. And that's why your body has to catch up with, the physicality has to catch up with all of that expansion. So if we were buckets, and we all were 10-gallon buckets to start with, and every moment now of time we're having gallons and gallons, to use this metaphor, gallons and gallons and gallons of the stuff of source and our higher selves and light and the true high frequency emotions of love and all those things are pouring into us. So we need to get bigger buckets. And that's our vessel expands to that.
I want to say, it keeps coming to me, our cup runs over, which is kind of ironic. Perfect. Expand so it doesn't just pour out is what I feel when you said that.
Right. And some stuff will pour out. And what's pouring out, whether you want it to or not, is all of the things, whether they're emotions or words or thoughts or mindsets. You can give it all sorts of labels and descriptors. Those that are not in sync with, cannot become in a coherent energetic phase with the level, expansion, and vibratory rate of all those other frequencies that are coming in. So it's interesting, Neil. We were talking a little about this on the round table last night, but a lot of the phrases, euphemisms, sayings that we have, like you can't take it with you. And often people would say, well, your money, you can't take it with you. Well, yeah, that could have been what it was kind of construed to be, but really is you can't take all of the things that you hold on to, all of the baggage, all of the false illusions of that which is what we think is grand and all that kind of stuff. That all has to be left behind.
Shoot.
That's so right on, Beezy, and all the false beliefs and structures and things we've been falsely taught.
Yep. And played with hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
We're not, we have been participatory whole hog in all of this. We haven't, nothing was done to anyone. We're all in this together, and that is true on every level and layer.
Yeah.
And it really is all good. We just have to parse it out and figure it out and feel it out, really is the best languaging to encompass that.
Okay, I don't want to go too far off, but because of that and that little lead, this is Jean Marie, and I have concern, compassion, I'm changing how I speak of my emotions, but I think it's just compassion. I'm trying to hold on to my compassion for those of us that are clinging to things they've been taught, and specifically religion. And I know that part of my responsibility or my job here or my role here is to help when this reality shift for others, and I just feel this thing is going to happen, and people are going to be struck with a different truth and a different, it's already been exposed. So much has already been exposed, and some people still cling on to it. What does that mean to anybody? Is there anything out there?
Yeah, what comes to mind, a literal dream. I even hesitate to say dream last week because it was so real. But have you all heard of the quote-unquote event, that's talked about around the internet with Cobra and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so my dream was, regardless of, any feelings behind that, this image was being on the beach with a whole bunch of other people doing our things. And then up in the sky, it started morphing and shifting, and beings were coming out, and unlike anything we've ever seen, just wild images up there. And everybody on the beach was starting to freak out. And I am jumping for joy, screaming, "The event's here! Hallelujah, it's here!" Finally! And then I knew, I was going to stay there at the beach to help, deprogram the people. And it was so real, I felt the need to tell my mom, "Please, Mom, if something happens in the sky, do not freak out. It's the event, and it's going to be all good." And then she called me. I think it was actually the next day. Las Vegas happened, and she goes, "Is this that event you're talking about?" I'm like, "Oh, no, you're going to know it."
Okay. Again, you just brought me back to a dream I had within the last week. I'm thinking it was last Thursday or something. I woke up in the middle of the night with a similar experience. Some sort of ship made itself visible in the sky, and also then something like a not a monorail, but some sort of a trolley system also appeared. I got up willingly and just walked away from my husband and got on that trolley, which brought me to an actual physical ship that was on water. And I thought about him. I thought, well, he'll catch up. He'll do what he's supposed to do. Got on the ship, and it was almost like there was beings there that were already ascended, and they were just gentle and no pressure. And I'd ask for some, like, which way am I supposed to go? And people would gently guide me, or there was no place you were supposed to go. You did whatever you were moved to do. And it was a big, like I'd have to say like a military ship. It was big, flat deck, and then there was like rooms. It was like you just go over there, and they'll tell you where your room is. It was like kind of a cruise ship and kind of a military ship and kind of. I literally forgot the dream until you started speaking about yours. So, and I haven't told anybody it.
That's amazing. You know, who is that speaking? Whose dream is that?
I'm Jean Marie.
Okay, Jean Marie. If you go on, have you? It really reminds me of Sophia Love's dream, which in which she goes on a ship where the Palladians are. I mean, but it's like a vision. It's real for her. I mean, so it's on her. It's on her page. I don't know how to say it. It's on her.
I'm only laughing because I can hear everybody going, okay, now I used to think this was a dream, but wow, now I realize I've been going places and doing things in actuality.
It sounds so much like you and Sophia Love went to the same place.
Wow. Thank you.
Murray, she's on Facebook. You go to Facebook and you'll find the story eventually.
Okay, I will. And thank you, BZ, for reminding me.
You just ask me and I will find it for you.
Okay.
Yeah, and while you mention that, if everybody's agreeable, we'll share everybody's contact, email information just within this roundtable so that you all can connect and we can expand this however you choose to do that when we're done.
Right on.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so I'd like to play a little bit for a moment of, we talked about choosing which of the collectives of realities, which of our own reality, because there is our own single, one perspective could be that we're the only one within the reality, and then we create and choose others or aspects of ourselves to represent others, or so there's lots of different ways to hold it depending on how you're feeling into it and what level you're looking at it from, what perspective, what vibrational level. And all of them are valid from the various perceptions and perspective and energy levels that you're on. But when you're looking at, let's play for a moment in contributing to and playing in and expressing an expanded conscious earth reality. What comes to mind for you, to heart for you, of a focus or the focus or a jumping off point, using that as a jumping off point? What would you focus on? Or what have you already begun to focus on that you're now giving voice to?
Well, ever since I changed my life around 7 years ago, I've started this become seriously as an artist, and so my focus would be and is to just implement a lot of different visions I have that would necessitate different resources. I'm talking about financial or some sort of abundance to implement them. And so that's my creative vision, using my stories and my art and all these kinds of things. That would be my focus.
Great. Who else?
If that's answering your question.
It's you're all building the jumping off point, and we're going to play from there. So who else?
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, it's so delicious. I've lived it. I've lived into it. I totally get. It's just like, I just I just want the money, the people, the whatever that is, and I feel like I have a list and I could just check it off and just create it like that. It's all there for me, or at least a lot of it.
Well, this is me again. I'm not sure if I'm answering correctly. I'm sorry.
No, you're wrong.
Me too. I was like, is that the question? Did I get it right?
I'm a funny girl. So I've been such a hermit, and I've while I'm working on me, and I have been focused on me a lot, and that's really different. And I'm loving me and putting all the energy into me. And yes, anyone who's in my space gets the same amount of love. That's me too, is loving everybody equally. Animals. My animals life has forced me to really focus on my dog's health and nutrition-based health, not medicine-based health, and spending time with and also art. I haven't stepped into that. So when I just heard you so excited talking about your art and your writing, I'm certain I'm a writer. I'm certain I'm a researcher. I'm certain I'm an artist. I just haven't really tapped into any of that other play part. So it's very close. And I mean, I see myself painting the inside of my house like it's one huge living mural and just keep going from there, whatever that means. That's my answer. Painting and not stopping. And whether or not I think abundance is.
That's fabulous. Keep going. Who's next?
Yeah. Well, I'll just real quick. I'll finish that. I feel like the abundance is already there. It's been with us always. It's been a belief system that it hasn't been. I am fortunate enough that I haven't been clinging on to the belief that the energy money thing was real. That was already kind of gone for me a long time ago. I still participated in life and I supported whatever. That's all personal past. So I feel like I have like this advanced acceptance or allowing this shift. I feel pretty advanced in that, and I do have empathy or compassion for the people that have really diligently made good, solid financial decisions in all of their efforts and their retirement and all that. And when they hear me speak of something about what's coming, they just can't hear it. They're just, what about my investments? I go, oh, you are worth way more than any of your investments. And they shut down and walk away. Anyways, the Robin Williams movie, I can't, something about heaven painting. It was like he was living in a painting when he went to heaven. Do you know?
What dream may come?
Yes, that's how I see me playing. So whatever that makes me, that's how it feels. Go ahead.
I have two things to expand on what you guys just said. Absolutely, I'm in that grasping the creative mode, and I love your painting analogy because it's just like taking the brush and just going wild to wherever it goes. And I'll get to my thing in 1 second. But something interesting happened 3 weeks ago. I was deciding whether to adopt a foster kitten I had. And I just couldn't, I was in my mind about it. And then for the first time in my life, I literally physically felt a heart expansion. So I knew to keep her. So that was just a fun physical feeling that I absolutely intend on expanding upon and playing with. But in the here and now,
I'm sorry, but I couldn't hear you. Did you say foster
kitten? Cat?
Can you spell?
Kitten?
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you said kitten or kid, and it was two different things, so thank you.
Oh, no, kitten. I think I'd probably hang
like,
myself for a child.
A little different, so I needed to interrupt. Thank you.
No, but just that physical feeling and the heart opening was so super cool. So then, to follow both of your threads, I have always written, it is a joy of mine, and I keep this blog. It's 3 separate paths: spirituality and my ascension, money, because I've always played in the finance world, and I have these darn dream visitations from Keanu Reeves. So up until this weekend, literally, I write about the stuff, and I keep them kind of separate, but you know what? It just hit me like, let's just go all out crazy and just say all the crazy stuff and, take a paintbrush and just keep going. Who cares at this point of our evolution? I'm just going to have fun with it and see where it goes.
Yes.
Wonderful. I don't want to keep talking. I just got to say, I'm smiling so big. I'm sure you can feel it. I love what you just said.
No, and it's lovely hearing you guys say that you're stepping into doing what you're doing. It's just so exciting that people are grasping that these days.
Yeah. I feel like there's somebody out there that's not talking on this conversation. Who's not talking?
Heidi, I've just been listening. I'm just in a different space today.
I didn't mean to call you out. I just feel like somebody's there that's not talking. I love you.
So share what the space is, Heidi. What's up?
Well, I noticed the other day, it's been a really long time since I've had fun, and because I'm alone all the time. And so when I go out, to get gas, buy a lottery ticket, go to Whole Foods, Costco, whatever, I have noticed that I have these interactions with complete strangers, and they're really awesome interactions. I mean, we started having a conversation with someone about something, like it was about the eggs at Whole Foods the other day, and we ended up talking for 10 minutes. And it was really a great conversation. And it was really opening, and, I don't get to express or interact with people often. So when I walked away, I felt a lot of joy from that. And at the gas station, when I buy my lotto ticket, I'll joke with the person I'm buying. Well, I'm going to buy 2 tickets, but you got to give me the winning ones, and then I'll remember you when I win. And I have this fun interaction. But as far as it's something that I definitely miss in my life, but it's not in my life right now where I'm at as far as getting together with people and doing something. It's just it's not there. And it's okay, it's all right, because I've totally been working on myself and this transition and, moving forward. So it's great listening to you guys, because you feel like you're out there and opening up, and it feels much more active, energetic than my current experience. The other thing that's interesting is I am an artist, and I have a studio downstairs that I have been unable to be inspired to do anything for probably a year. And that every time I go down there, I get excited, but then to go in there and do something, no. It just, hasn't been there. And, oh, God, I miss it. I want it. I want that feeling of waking up in the morning, and I can hardly wait to get back in there and start creating. So, allowing, just floating, not trying to push it, not trying to resist it, just opening up to it, putting it out there. That's what I would like, again, is that inspired creativity that I'm so used to feeling free to express.
May I share something that's coming to mind for you?
Yeah.
This is just what's coming to me to say. Perhaps be open that something else might even spark that creative energy. For me, it's oftentimes things I read on the internet or books, and then I go off on wild threads, and I'm like so excited about it, and then it'll inspire me to go do something else. So maybe don't necessarily look for your answer downstairs, but that you'll be motivated somewhere else that's going to spark you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And you also mentioned, Heidi, that you find yourself not very often getting together with people, and we're all getting together right here, right now.
Oh, yeah, this is the first, well, besides the other call that I was on with you, it's the first group, interactive speaking with people that I've done in quite a few months. So I welcome and I thank you for the opportunity, because you really don't know who you are until you interact with other people.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a mirror for you. So, if we just all were hermits and didn't interact with others, we would really have no reference point from which to see who we are, what we think, how we feel, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? We've been our own little bubble.
Mm-hmm. And so back to the springboard for our round table today, which is dancing in the middle of the table and swirling colors and leaping and twisting and all that kind of stuff, is choice. It's a choice point. So you created, I appreciate the thank you, but you created the interactions and called all of us here today, as each one of you did. No accident.
Yeah. I'm with you.
So don't pawn that off on me or someone else. Each one of you painted this beautiful experience that you're experiencing.
Yeah. I can say I needed it also, Heidi. I'm not that, I might sound like I'm outgoing and energetic, and I really am, but I have kept, I feel like I deliberately working on myself like a hermit. I'm pretty limited. When I do go out for my errands, I always have some magical interaction, and I come home with, with great joy. It's like, in the last place I expect it, I'll have the type of experience you spoke of. And then occasionally I'll go to the tavern, the local tavern here in our area, thinking that I might have a good interaction there. And I just, the depth of the different I'm not getting it there. We'll just say I pop in once a week or every couple of weeks to see if there's any magic, and I feel like there's people that I have connections with that need to see me once in a while, so they can ask me or reach to me if they want to talk to me about something, because there's so much changing. So I pop in, but more often than not, the energy is so dull and low, I can't stay. Anyways, whatever that means. But this conversation right now, and us being able to stay connected after this conversation, right there, each one of us did this for ourselves, and I'm so happy for all of you being here.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't spend since I started doing this story a month ago or whatever, 21st, I guess, whenever the eclipse was. I mean, It's amazing how much time I spend with myself, and I have spent a lot of time with myself since my divorce. But been very necessary. And it's interesting that we, at least I guess 3 of us, including me, spend a lot of time alone.
Oh, I do too, totally. I'm the most,
is that 4? Is that
social.
4 of us then?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. I mean,
when I go out, I'm
very
social,
much by choice. So much by choice.
But at home,
because
I'd prefer to be by
my
myself.
friends, I tell them no, I'm not going out because I need to finish the story.
Yeah.
I'm totally obsessed. It's like I'm obsessed, and that's obvious.
Well, keep in mind, too, that the process, we'll go back to the bucket analogy of that bucket stretching and shifting and changing to release the stuff that spills over, or my favorite analogy is the tube of toothpaste. And this is the quantum size, galactic size, multi-universe size tube of toothpaste moment where everything that's in the tube of toothpaste that is not a match, not a vibrational, cohesive match to all that's flowing in, gets squeezed out. And as you know, you can't put what was in the toothpaste tube back in, and you don't want to. So that takes a lot of alone time, a lot of integration time, a lot of processing time. And the time when you're not doing that is more magical, even if it's just a 5-minute here, or as you guys describe, 10 minutes there. So it's really important when we've talked about compassion and stuff on the call, that compassion comes to yourself. And that love and wrapping yourself, you talked about the kitten, wrapping yourself in that purring love, hug and snuggle as you go through these processes, because it's a ginormous, galactic, multiverse-sized thing that we're doing.
Are we bringing our different selves from all over the universe at this time? I mean, is that what you're saying? We are actually, which we have not done before?
Yes, all coming into embodiment.
It's like all the different aspects of ourselves, or the different, like myself that's living, on top of the mountain with the birds, or like whatever, the different selves, we're bringing them into this life, this huge shift for the planet. Is that?
It's for all. It's not just this planet.
I mean, it's so intense. I really don't know hardly anybody in my entire life that can deal with this except me and you all. And just a few people. One person that I have a conversation with who lives in Sedona. I mean, there's just so few people who can deal with this.
And so is it fair, or is it, again, there I go, is it correct to say that we probably all have interacted before?
Absolutely. This particular round table here has taken place in a non-physical before we arrived on the physical.
Yeah, that's what I feel. And I don't feel I have the authority to say it, but that's how it feels. So I don't know when that authority will fall in.
And I was told yesterday, actually, that my book that I just started on is already completed over on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
That if I come into any writer's blocks, just really tap into what's already there. So, we all talked and created this over there.
Well, I do feel that, like, what I was feeling the other day in one of my vision realm, like even I'm seeing the emerald light on the salt lamp over here that's in my story. I just suddenly saw it spontaneously. And when I told you I was high up in that those futuristic type jeweled city, with everything was just very transparent and lucid and really different. Not dense, not as dense as here, though still really definitely on the earth. I feel like that here on this call. Yeah, I feel like I'm in the same place. It's very wonderful.
I am not a visionary. I am an empath. I feel it, and I feel that I'm there with you.
Yeah.
I felt it when you first described it. I just don't have visions I have dreams and very vivid visions in my dreams. But when you spoke of the city and the crystal or the colors and stuff, right away I felt it. I felt really comfortable there. And
I have another visual for you all. Part of my path is playing, and it literally is playing for me in the legal system. Oh my God, I could do a road trip around the country, and I'll inevitably get in front of some courthouse or some town clerk. Like, I guess it's my thing to bring light to these places. So I visited a superior court in Connecticut where I was at 7 years ago. This was just last week, yeah. So 7 years ago, I walked into there to do my business, surrounded by my angels, guides, and guardians. There's a big statue of the lady called Ma in front. She's the scales of justice, and I prayed to her then. So I was living in my own little bubble, but angels and guides and guardians. So going back last week, I had some time, so I sat outside in front of Ma, and I'm like, Ma, thank you so much for that. Like, chapter 1, I appreciate, your assistance, but I'm ready for something else. And when I sat there, I just envisioned that whole courthouse in this crystalline light that we're all discussing now.
Wow.
And, just absolutely visualizing it existing in another time and place and space, but I'm there. So that was just super cool.
Wouldn't that be wild if... Sorry, go ahead.
To walk in with those different tools, like a different tool bag, set of skills.
Yeah, I just got anyways, to express that, what if all of our courtrooms, they all have to have a purpose? There's some really beautiful courthouses and courtrooms in the country and probably in the whole world, in the galaxy. If they all became like healing places and crystal energy places where, or something other than what they've been used for, but somehow in their what I want to say, the opposite of what they have been. Yeah.
Yeah, because that makes total sense, because the majority of people who might find themselves there that have gone astray for one reason or another, what they truly do need is the healing. So it would make sense that they become healing centers.
And even there's just there's something wonderful that takes place there. I don't know, sound healing, energy healing, but go with it.
That's beautiful, yeah.
That's a great visual. That's an awesome visual.
Right?
It's the exact opposite of what's there now.
Yeah, how they've, yeah. Yeah, I'm for, I grew up in Santa Barbara, and our courthouses are like museum. I mean, the main downtown courthouse is like a museum, like Michelangelo paintings on the ceiling, and it's just really elaborate. And again, I haven't traveled enough to say, but I'm sure there's some really beautiful courthouses out there. Am I wrong? I'll send that loving vision to Knoxville.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the part of the energetic that you're painting, if you looked at that video, which is part 1 of the interview with Judge Clifford Shirley,
yes, I did.
The judge, right? So that's bringing that beauty inside. I mean, when you look at that and you hear and see and feel how he's expressing and how he's, walked through his path, talk about, recognizing someone being chosen for this moment in time in this particular, case, and all that it encompasses in all of Source's universe, and I mean that very specifically. All those with him specifically, and then every other dot that you notice and that lights up for you, connects that. And Heidi, I just had a flash from the other roundtable that you were on. You were talking about, doing research and connecting with things and exploring things. That may be your pointillism painting that you're doing right now, your art, and is that flow of knowledge and integration and expansion from there.
Yeah, absolutely, and I get that, and because it just it's effortless for me to do that right now. So I'm not going to resist it. I'm just absorbing everything I can, and it's exciting to me. So where that will lead next, I don't know, but it's okay. I just try to do things that make myself feel good because I've spent a lot of my life making myself feel bad. So I'm kind of learning how to feel good again. Well, again, meaning from when I was really, really, really young.
Yeah.
Great.
You're not alone there either, Heidi.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely not. So that is the part of like being alone also. We can think of it as loving oneself, just like you would need to spend time with a child or someone you love. You need to spend time with them. Well, we need to spend time with ourselves.
And every day I'm so thankful that I am alone right now because otherwise I couldn't be doing this.
Yeah. Mhm.
So, I don't have any children. I don't have a partner in my life right now. And where I live, I just don't know that many people. So, hey, I put myself in the perfect place to focus on this shift.
Yeah. Divine placement.
That's right.
Yeah.
And again, it's choosing to give yourself permission, because so much of, in general, how we're indoctrinated and trained, brainwashed, and specifically if you're a woman, you're the last on the totem pole in also many ways, but certainly about giving yourself time and having things be fun and all that kind of stuff, That's way down under a few rocks at the bottom of the swamp.
What a swamp it is.
There is life in the swamp.
That's right. Let's spend the last few moments of the call. I'd like everybody to go around and tune into your heart. Drop intentionally and very specifically out of your head, out of the thought process, out of the reasoning process, out of the path planning process. Put your hand on your heart and just breathe for a moment. And when whoever's moved to share with it first, what you want to give voice to of what you're choosing as your focus as you go forward. And no, I'm not elaborating because it's coming from you. So.
Okay, I'll go. I feel like these ripples of love coming out from my heart, these emerald ripples, and it's my vision, it's my stories, it's my art, it's this huge creation that I've come here to share, and I will just standing behind it or being behind it, and giving myself permission to do that and to trust the love. It's not the love between like me and another person, like in a relationship, which I feel is so supported. Having a relationship, taking care of my children, being in a marriage, like that. This is equal, or even this is huge, and this is love, and to feel the power of that, and to believe it, and to allow it. Yeah.
Great.
I can say that you pretty much spoke for me. What that's you said the words that you expressed my feelings in choosing. Wow, just choosing love and trusting my own intuition, my own guidance, and taking the risks that I have not taken in 52 years, whatever, maybe 40 years ago when I stopped taking risks. I don't know. Or in the things that have whatever has held me back. And it's just, I feel like it's just about gone. There's still a little hesitation, but every day I spend a little time looking at and considering where I will travel to, and I'm traveling alone. And I'm excited. There's a little apprehension, and that's that third D stuff still. But you just said it, is choosing to trust and to go out openly and love every experience I have.
Yeehaw!
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful.
She's soaring.
And by the way, I'm traveling on money I don't have. Sorry.
Oh, and by the way, you have it.
I have, but I haven't. Yes.
Yeah, you don't yet have it.
That's a perspective you can choose to hold or expand beyond.
Yeah, I shouldn't have thrown that back in there, but no, I have played and I have done my diligence, and it is. I've got it coming from different directions, we'll say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it all comes from you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share a visual I actually wrote down yesterday, because every morning I write in Channel, so it downloaded to me yesterday. Imagine I wrote down Roman numeral 1, 2, 3, and with lines, horizontal. So 1 is something I intend to wrap up by year end, is just wrap up all my 3D projects on the plate. The things that I've been working on, that have been lingering, done. I have no time or space for all that, but I want to complete them properly, get them away. Then the next band I see is then finally playing, because I am in the business world, playing in the business world how I've always wanted to, with like unicorns and pink and crystal and this and that, like doing business my way, in a pink Barbie doll way, with the, like writing into a meeting on a unicorn. However crazy it's going to be, that's what I'm going to do, and find out all the hidden secrets that have been from us, because that's my passion, to learn the truth of how things really operate in business and legal. So I see that as the next band, and then past that, because that has been my goal, to learn the truth about what goes on here, and then past that, I am just open to whatever possibility, be it my book takes some direction, I go start speaking, or I'm not even going to limit it, but just whatever comes, to embrace it and know it's all going to be in divine timing and exactly what I came here to be doing.
I love it.
That's wonderful.
Did you say riding into a meeting on a unicorn?
Yes, I really did.
I was thinking that's a great idea. You could really do that.
That is fantastic. I used to work.
Love that.
Used to work in the corporate defense world, and boy, did you make me smile when you said that. I could see. I mean, that's a great one.
Let me just share, because I've always been left of center in the business world, and some of the things I say, people just look at me like I'm dumb, but I know I'm not. Obviously, I'm more tuned in and tapped on. But to be able to fully express that in every single realm in that world is going to be fabulous.
Well, you'd be giving a huge gift to other people, because you'd just be speaking for what's on their mind.
Totally. And they'll get out their dragon. They'll ride in on their dragon or whatever.
Oh, my God. That is...
Somebody will be Spider-Man.
The dragon and the unicorn. I love that.
That's really good. Well, I read the Saint Germain prayer out loud 144 times because I really wanted to feel that I've activated all my 12 strands of double helix of DNA. And I did feel a shift, but I felt it as soon as I'd read it about 24 or 30 times. And so I'm just, when you said coming from your heart, VZ, in the prayer, there's part of it where it says that you call forth the golden white light from source energy, and you bring it down through your crown chakra and then down into your heart, and you add love to that light from your heart. And so that's another thing I am just, allowing, is feeling all of my other selves, quantum-wise, integrating into me, my consciousness.
I love that. I love Saint Germain too, by the way.
And do you realize, so tune in for a minute to, because there is no past, present, or future, so you can hear the conversation of each that gave voice to their focus going forward right now. Again, it plays in your whole being. You each described creating the new earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the other cool thing is it's already there. It's just like opening up to it.
Now
you don't have to go after. You don't have to go after it. You just let it.
Well, you've already made it in the non-physical, and now you're bringing it into the physical.
Yeah. Exactly.
I really want it to be here now. I will say that.
It's here right now in this conversation. I picture an executive on a unicorn. And I'm still giggling.
Yes, I love that. I
want to create the unicorn and the stick, the pogo stick unicorn, and send it to you.
Okay.
It's like Lady Godiva,
Yeah.
To do that on the unicorn, the goddess on the unicorn.
Right. So it's all choosing and pulling it into physical because you have amazing expansive powers that you're just beginning to tap into in the physical, but you've been playing with for a long time in the non-physical, in the visions or the dreams or whatever euphemism you're using for what you're really doing. And now you'll see that. And one last thing that's lighting up for you, I want to leave you with is several people have mentioned, sometimes they're interacting with people and the energy is different, energy is heavy, or they're in a different place. Remember that you are transmitters, and all of this energy that you're feeling and swimming in and playing in right this moment on this round table with the dancing and the unicorns and the jeweled light and all of that swishing by and everything, you can transmit that out everywhere you go. You can have a conversation, you can say things, you can interact, or you don't need to. Just the very transmitter that you are can transmit that out. Just simply by being. And that is a major doing that you do.
Thank you.
And so it is.
Cool. So have a wonderful afternoon, evening, wherever you are in your time. And I will send out, once I get the video up, I'll send the link and I'll send the connection for everybody. And everybody can stay connected and expand as you feel moved to do.
Thank you.
Yes, that's wonderful. And BZ, thank you so very much for everything.
Wonderful.
Yes, thank you to everyone.
Thank you to everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Love you,
Have
everybody.
A great evening.
Yeah. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.